99% certain that I'm cleared by my doctor to be A-okay now, which is great. Because he was like, and I went back and I described my symptoms being the same. He was like, perfect, muscle pain. And I was like, yes, perfect. He didn't seem very like scared, which is a good sign. Sorry. Also, Steam is updating a million different games, which is good because it means I'm not gonna die. It's great. I've also been busy playing some games off stream. Sorry, I got a lot of like notifications to catch up on. I've been gone for multiple days, just sort of hanging out and just like doing things. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot to catch up on. For instance, did you know that Into the Radius 2 is finally out fully as the full game? I've been waiting for this for a very long time to play, but apparently the new one has some. Anyways, welcome everyone to today's stream. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I've just been gone for forever. I had a feeling that today would be a late start too, because I'm on a new medication, and apparently it just knocks you out. So I'm like, okay, well, this is good and all, but I'm gonna need to do things during the day. I had to take it 3 times a day as needed for pain, and I was like, when the pharmacist told me 3 times a day, I was like, oh, 3 times a day, and then I think the pharmacist guy also kind of realized that'd be a crazy amount, so he was like, sorry, but the amount was as needed. But I was like, that even then, that's a lot of sleeping time. I don't know. But yeah, just been going around, hanging out, played some games with my wife, finished all the medication stuff, all the medical stuff. I feel good. The only thing that I don't feel good about is the program that I got up to in the meantime. There's actually no project that I'm on, so I get time to actually explore and build on my understanding of things. And one thing that I did want to check out actually, and before I talk about the gaming stuff, because I have like a multi-hour long programming rant, is I wanted to check out how painful it would be to implement Vulkan from like just interacting with the driver itself directly, right? Which is to say, like you load in the Vulkan stuff using the Vulkan loader, the Vulkan on Windows it's like Vulkan 1 DLL, and on other platforms it's something else. I forget what it's called somewhere else. I think it's actually all Vulkan-1.so or .dll. And just seeing like how painful it would be to go through that experience of like setting it up from that starting scratch point, if that makes sense, from scratch, but like not me. It's not to the point where I'm like directly like sending commands to the GPU to write something. Like I'm not building my own graphics driver, but it is low level enough to the point where it's like I am basically interacting with it in as deeply as one can be without getting into the weeds of like NVIDIA specific stuff or like AMD specific stuff. And it's been hell. It's actually been very, very much hell. I didn't realize there's so many steps. And I actually found what's funny about the process is that if you're like, let's say you search up like Vulkan tutorial, right? I found it funny that like, let's say you go to the official Vulkan.org learning page, right? This was impressive to me. I actually don't know how I don't know how they did this, but you click on learn more, or sorry, like let's say you click on learn and you click on the tutorials, which takes you down here. Okay, they somehow have multiple different tutorials, all telling you the same thing, except some of them are up to date and not up to date. And so it's like I don't really know what to expect really when I'm working with this. Like there's not one true way to get like an understanding of what this thing is. Like obviously you can read the specification, but there's sort of like a difference between reading the specification and then going in to implement it in terms of like what steps you need to do in sort of what order. Because the specs themselves too are sort of interesting, where it's like they're extremely verbose in terms of what they tell you about. So for instance, let's say you need like the application info. Oh my god, this is gonna it's gonna lag so much. Yeah, let's say you need the what? Why did it link over here? What is this? Oh yeah, so let's say you have to create the instance, and then you have to like go through this whole process of creating these multiple structures in order to pass information to Vulkan, which will then give you an instance of a Vulkan program. Feels lag, man. Yeah, this is all very painful. Wait, feels lag as in does it sound laggy? Do I sound laggy? Hello. Do I sound weird? Hello. Testing. Hello. No, I sound good. Okay. No. Okay. Well, welcome to the programming rant. You're just in time. This specification is really, really good. but it's very detailed, right? But it's almost too detailed in the way that it is, and it's also structured in a way where it's sort of painful to figure out. Okay, what are the first few things that you need to do to get something going? Obviously, there's like you have to go through the fundamentals. You have to go through the introduction, the preamble, which you don't really have to, but the preamble does have some information about like I don't know the copyright and stuff, which I guess is useful if you care about your project being public. But it's like, yeah, there's a surprising amount of things that you have to learn before you get up and running. However, even the initialization stuff, the way that it's ordered is also confusing because even if you know sort of what you need to do, which is you need to somehow get a VK instance object, it's still sort of weird how you have to go through all of this and you have to eventually get to the point where it tells you, okay, so to do this, you have to actually send in application info as well as your, what was it, the create application create info? There's like two different infos that you have to send. And then you call a function, yeah, and then you call a function to get the instance itself. And then there's ways to call the function through the loader, or you can get the loader to give you the direct memory address of the function that I couldn't really figure out this part of like where that memory address points to. I'm assuming it's like the specific driver written by every vendor. So it's like you within the NVIDIA driver, because the loader is a layer on top of the drivers. And then the NVIDIA and the AMD drivers are underneath that. And then really the loader is the one doing the dispatch to go get that. You can skip that dispatching apart and just do it yourself. But even then, it's like you have to scroll all the way down here to get to the point where you finally know what is a VK application info. And so it's like, let's say you want to get an instance, okay? So you go through this, all right? And you have to go all the way to down here. There's a lot of information here, which is very handy up here. There's a lot of information here, which is also very handy. This actually tells you a bit about how to actually get the actual instance itself. But specifically the I think the function itself in order to be able to call that function to like get the instance. And so you have to go and like get this stuff. But it's like it's there's no easy flow of like you really have to be constructing these things sort of in reverse, because it's like it tells you how to get the instance from this and then it just goes on to say a whole bunch of things like this is what a device is, this is what a virtual device is, this is how you extend physical device core functionality, this is how you specify things, important things like API versions and stuff. And then it finally tells you, oh, by the way, that VK application info thing that you need, you actually need to create it like this. And so it's like you can't really read this top to down. You have to read this almost like jumping back and forth. But I kind of wish that this information was almost co-located in a much better way, because it's like if you're reading it top to down, because it kind of reads like a sequential sequence of steps that you sort of have to do from the top down, then you're kind of lost because it's sort of like a sandwich built in reverse. But if you follow the hyperlinks, then it makes much more sense. But it's sort of frustrating to have to do this the first time before you know, and then and like this is the specification, okay? So it's like obviously you're dealing with the much more low level stuff, so it's just gonna you just have to deal with the fact that you're jumping around, right? But if you don't want to deal with that, which tutorial do you use? Look at this. You get the Chronos Vulkan tutorial, a reverse sandwich. I'll talk about sandwiches soon too. I actually got some good in ingredients. You have the official Chronos Vulkan tutorial, which is based on this tutorial, which uses Vulkan 1.4 as a what Vulkan 1.4? Is that what version of Vulkan is out now? Actually, I actually don't know what version is out now. Oh, that's another thing too. Is like, I mean, so development for this thing is weird in that you have to like download the SDK for it. And there's like an SDK that you download from like a third party named LunaG, which I don't really know why it's from them. I was sort of very confused about why I'm going to their website to download an SDK. But you actually don't even need that. Let's say you can just like load the DLL and just call the functions manually yourself, like in the usual way that you would in any programming language. And you can just do that too. As far as I can tell, the SDK gives you two things. One, really handy application to do the layer validation. Two, useful header files for you to include that will be linked properly and also somehow have knowledge of like your environment to give you exactly what you need to read about things. I'm not really sure how that works. But as far as I can tell, the SDK isn't really necessary because as long as you have the driver, you're okay, which is weird. So yeah, but yeah, so it's like, which one do you read? Do you use this tutorial? Do you use the How to Vulkan in 2026, which is a minimalist tutorial instead? Or do you go for the Sasha, or sorry, or do you go for the how to learn Vulkan thing here? Or do you learn for the Vulkan in 30 minutes? Like, like I feel like there's a lot of different ways to teach it, and I feel like all of them, and I've actually gone through the official one as well as the Sasha Willems one. And these are the ones that I've gone through briefly. They're all very similar in the ways that they are, except like say like this one's more about like the things that you need to do in terms of like, oh, like these are tips that'll help you learn. But like say this one, okay? This one, it's roughly the same thing too, where it's like it tells you a lot of information, tells you how it works, and then tells you how you get it running. And it's like I don't really know which one I should use then. Like, because it's like, what is the canonical flow of a Vulkan application? It's within the specification. And so it's like, what's the point of using anything but the official Chronos one, as far as I can tell? Because even this one it's sort of touted as a minimalist tutorial, getting people started with rasterization in Vulkan, using commonly supported features to make the API easier to use. So, for instance, you use STL3 in that. I think the official one doesn't use STL3. Actually, I forget what the setup for it was. I think it was just a compiler of C++, and then you just run it, and then it doesn't even. I don't think it tells you how to get like a window, or maybe it does. Let's see. But yeah, I don't. Oh yeah, right, because it's using GLF. So like each thing has like a different thing that it wants to use to do things like, windowing on your platform of choice, and then it's like, and then each thing also has a different, and then like subsequently each choice has its own way of understanding how to integrate with Vulkan. It's just a giant mess in terms of like what you follow, and it took me a while of like perusing these ones and skimming them very quickly to eventually settle on the official one, as well as eventually settle on just like the core concepts that it has, and then eventually I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna read through the spec itself. Each thing has a different thing to do with thing. Yes, yes, yes. Every single thing has a different thing to do. But again, which tutorial is the best one then? Which is the one that gets someone going? I don't know. Anyways, that was my rant about programming. That wasn't actually as long as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot longer. If you make programming tutorials, or let's say you make programming materials, give one official way to do things and no other way. Because the moment that you even slightly open the door to there being more than one way to do things, I think that's when society falls apart. That's when society falls apart. That was the neck of Connor, who was sent by Cyberlife. Yes, how did you recognize him by his neck? That's impressive. You know how impressive that is? Like that's you literally got like a single frame of his neck. This was the most that you saw. I know he has a very distinctive silhouette, and that game had distinctive clothing. But there's no way that you can just remember him by his neckline, because the suit and the tie. I know his suit is distinctive, but like to pattern match that's impressive. It's very giving. It's very giving. Yeah, it's a part of their it's a part of their, I guess, like other places call them white papers, which I always found it funny, because it's like white papers. I don't really get the point of it being called that, when it's like these are implementations of the thing. Whereas this one, it just says this is how they changed it from whatever they were using into Vulkan. So it's interesting, from Quantic Dreams. It's a blog series too. Apparently they have like a ton of these blog series, because they had one for Star Wars that I saw. They have like a bunch more over here that I've been meaning to like read through, just to see what exactly it is. I don't know who these are written for, actually. I don't actually know who these are written for. Because like for a developer, you know that it works, because it's like you can read the because once you read the specification, you realize like, oh, it's actually really good. But it's like so it's like, if it's not really your graphics programmer who needs to read these. I feel like that this is for business. But like, what business person cares about AMD Radeon Developer Tool Suite updated with new GPU support and significant RGB enhancements? I've never seen a business suit care about that. The cut of the suit is very futuristic. You know what? That is a good point. It is very futuristic. That's a good way of saying it. But what does that mean, right? Is our future only sharp, hard lines and very sort of like 2 to 3 color palettes at most, with very minimal, if any, splashes of color. Like here, for instance, the only real splash of color is his skin tone, as well as his gold tie thing, and that's it. And but and so like the blue is just different things of blue. The collar is not folded. The collar. So you're saying the future of fashion is we shouldn't fold collars. Suit jacket, no fold collar. Okay, actually, some of these suits actually do look kind of sick. Wait, some of these do look kind of sick. I don't know how to tell you this. This is kind of sick. I'm gonna show you this. Some of these do look kind of sick. Like, you do look like you're in an insane asylum. Like you're in the straitjacket, but at the same time, it looks kind of sick. At the same time, Amazon. I don't trust this shit from Amazon. It's not gonna. It's not gonna look like. It's not gonna look like this. You don't know, man. That's because you've never thought to yourself when you look at people in an insane asylum. You've never thought to yourself, "Damn, that suit looks kind of cool though." Like if you look at like a straitjacket. Yeah, straitjacket. Okay, I can't show you images of straitjackets. I didn't know the straitjackets. I guess like I forgot that they're used for BDSM, so I can't show you this. But like, there's a lot of people in straitjackets who are also naked. There's a lot of people. There's actually a straitjacket with a hole for your balls. Wow, amazing. What is this? What the? Why? I don't know. Ask the BDSM crew. Okay, listen. Ask the BDSM crew why they use these. I don't know why they use straitjackets. I'm going to assume it's the same reason why we use them on people who are clinically insane. Is to enforce a level of control over them, and I'm not really sure if that's for their own good or not. But that's if it works for them and it does that, then it's the same thing. You don't want to socialize though. Well, somebody's got to socialize here, because if you're not socializing and I'm not socializing, then nobody's gonna have any stories to tell. But I did socialize. So yeah, that's my programming rant. Now, to tell you about my week. I've actually been gone for a very long time. When's the last time that I streamed? Actually, I actually don't know. Can I see when I last streamed? I'll probably see by my VOD, right? Okay, just don't listen to my self talk. It's so annoying. Just don't listen to me. Self talk. Let's see. Videos. Holy shit, chat. Even the video is gone. Usually the VOD stays. Oh wait, no. I streamed a week ago. Okay, and then before that, 4 days ago. That's how long I've been gone. Okay, my bad. I've been busy in life. You mean there are always many tutorials on everything? It's just that they list right there the ones that they recommend. Instead, you have to find them yourself, and different ones might fit better different people. You guess. Yeah, but like that's my thing about like. I wish they only endorsed one specific good to one guaranteed best tutorial. like I get that. Okay, but the thing is that you've now like it doesn't make it easier because like everybody can Google to find a tutorial. Okay, I'm gonna say this: everybody can Google to find a tutorial. If you're unsure which one is better, do both. Do you see how long this is? If you do both, you literally won't have time. And when you do one, and this is the thing about tutorials, okay? When you do one, you no longer need both. Because you already know how to do one, and then so you know already how to do the entire thing. So there's no point in doing both because you already know. So like that's... Do you get what I'm saying? There needs to be one good tutorial that tells you all the features that you need to get up and running, and then it links to the relevant specification parts, and then you know what to do. I mean, am I spending my time with something better? I was literally with my wife the entire week. What do you mean? Chat, you're all on watch. You're all on notice. All of you are on notice for not understanding time. Sorry. I have a rant about time. I actually hate when people waste my time. My friend group does this very often, and I'm starting to sort of like slip away from it. I've actually been like much more mean towards them because it's like I need them to realize that it's not funny, and it's actually more annoying than it is. Like very often they'll send a message and they'll be like, "Hey, do you want to play some games?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And then everybody says yes. We're on at the same time, okay? We're on at the time that everyone agrees to, but everybody's a little bit late. or like sometimes even like a lot late. And then I'm like, I don't really want to bother with this. So now what I've been doing is I've been telling them, okay, if you guys aren't on, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And then all of a sudden, everyone scrambles to come on. Everyone scrambles to get ready. And it's like, oh. So all I needed to do to get people to respect my fucking time was to just force all of you to lose out on having somebody wait for you. Oh, I didn't realize that I'm surrounded by fucking children. I could do one and then just kind of listen to one and then see if there are more tips that I haven't heard before while doing something else. You motherfucker. You didn't listen to a single thing that I said. And honestly, it's not your fault because you came here late. But still. He's a sex haver. We know sex havers can guzzle 10 tutorials at once. You know what it is? What's that term? Like, I've heard other people talk about it before, and I know I'm basically spouting off the same things that like that people on like, let's say, dev gurus on YouTube say, right? But they do say this thing of there's a lot of people out there that will just spend all of their time doing tutorials instead of making something. Okay, chat. I did this tutorial 5 days ago, and I'm already like way past it. Whereas like some people really do just keep doing tutorials over and over and over, and they don't do anything with it. Because the thing about a tutorial that's also very nice, but also it feels bad, is that a tutorial and the way that it makes you feel like you've achieved something, even though you've done nothing at all except just get started. It's like how in SpongeBob, when he's trying to write that, fancy letter to someone, and he writes that one fancy S or something, and then that's it. That's his entire day. Starting something, you have to keep going forward. The best ones are from Indians with a thick ass fuck accent. Yes, honestly, those tutorials have saved my life. Especially if and they always have a obscure tutorial on an obscure problem. Okay, they are the only ones who care about solving these obscure problems, and I don't know why they're the only ones who have ever decided to record their answers step by step. I will say my only problem is that the videos that they make can play very, very slowly, in the sense of like, they go through each step in like a painstaking pace, because I'm assuming that they know that they're making this for somebody who's like 60 years old. But it's also like, I'm not 60, and so I wish they would go faster. You love them, you owe them your life. They're very niche, extremely niche, yeah. Okay, look, see, all I'm saying is, okay, if you're doing tutorials, if you do more than one tutorial, then you're wasting time, okay? And time is not to be wasted. I was spending this whole week. I can speed the videos up. Yeah, and then I'm not gonna know what to do because it's too fast. There's a sweet spot of speeding it up, and the sweet spot. Okay, because this is the thing. Okay, I don't want to speed up the them talking. Them talking is at the right pace. I just want to speed up all the dead air of when they're dragging files around. All right. But if I have to click on it, it's just too much work. I would rather just sit in my chair and just like get to the good stuff slowly over time than have to manually, massage this one video. Especially because like, if you need a tutorial video like that, then it means that your PC is broken, let's say, and you can't use your PC, so you're watching the video on your phone. Have you ever tried to scroll through a video on your phone? It's awful. It is one of the worst UXs in the entire world, because you skip a little bit too far or a little bit too close. There's no good way to do it. And I don't know why, because I feel like I don't know how to say this, so we will do it in JS Paint. Was it JS Paint? Here, look, this is how it should be done. What is he yelling about? I'm just mad, okay? I'm just mad. Okay, look. Video scrolling should be like this, okay? This is your video bar, okay? So this is like how much of the video that you've watched, okay? So this is the bar of how much you've watched, right? You should be able to take your finger. I'm gonna do a whole. You are now a Simpsons character, okay? You are now the Blue Man Group, okay? You are now the Blue Man Group. You should be able to take your Blue Man finger, press this, drag it upwards, and then what you should be able to get is this very detailed timeline view that has clicker bars. So basically, it should click. It should have a physical haptic click when you're scrolling through a video with a high detail focus. so that you know that, oh, 1 click equals 1 second in the video, or maybe you push it up even more, and you go to milliseconds. So 1 click is like 50 milliseconds per video, and you feel it. It should be tactile and it should be visual at the same time. But nobody's ever done this. I'm screaming. Yeah, I'm screaming about some technology. But I want you to know that that's my best idea yet. But nobody has seemingly implemented that, and I need you to know that that could be the case. For you, you often are like densed when you read the first one and second one because they're too over your head for your level. And then the third one clicks, and then you can understand the first two better and understand more in depth. More in depth. That's a good point, actually. You know what? That is the one thing that I will say about the Vulkan stuff is that Vulkan's specification is easier to read than you would think. It's like for Vulkan, if you know at least a minimal amount of C, well, not minimal. If you know at least enough C to get to the point where you're doing stuff like bit masking and you know what like a bit flag is, and you know how to do things like macros to some degree, or then I think for the most part you can read through the specification very well. And I will say that the specification is written very well. Just the placement and like the places where you'd want things to be described at are kind of weird in different places. But in terms of like how complex it is to go through and like how in depth it is and how straightforward it is, pretty damn good. So maybe for specifically for Vulkan, you won't have the issue. But I do understand what you mean for other things. However, I think that's a skill issue. You can do something similar in YouTube. I do know that. See, so my inspiration was from YouTube, but even YouTube is still dog shit. Because I feel like YouTube could go a little bit. You're telling me that YouTube, okay, owned by Google, who owns Android, can't include tactile haptic feedback on you scrolling through a video? They own Android. They can just do that. Some engineer at YouTube can just contact their coworker at Android and say, "Yo, I need haptics. I need tactility." And then they can go, "All right, you want haptics? I got you tactility. Here's your tactility." Boom! Actually, wait, all the APIs are there. I think you can just do it by yourself, right? Can't you do? Isn't there like an Android API specifically to do haptics? Anyways, look. Okay, look. Forget the programming. Okay, everyone, forget the programming. Otherwise, we're going to be here for like say like 6 hours, all right? Actually, I wonder how you could do. Holy shit, chat! I have a new product idea. Haptic mouse. Why is there no haptic mouse? Am I crazy for thinking that would be amazing? Like, imagine your mouse can like shake and then vibrate. That feels so good. It would feel like you could have a massage mode that just shakes every now. Some intern probably has made that already for Android, but they just never push it to prototyping. I have noticed that too, where it's like, it seems like those major places, they mostly have interns do everything, and then they kind of just take their ideas and then they forget about them for years. And it turns out some intern tried it and no one pushed it, so they decided to make their own. Like, it's crazy because it's like the flow that I've seen is intern makes a feature, doesn't really go anywhere in the main company. They do their own thing. They make their company off of their idea when they were an intern. They make millions of dollars. Then that same company that they left who didn't want their idea in the first place goes back to buy them. And it's like, you could have just had the idea in the first place. See? That's why management is a hard job. The thing about management is you're fighting for your life to understand which one of your like ants is the best ant in the company, because you can't waste your time on the bad ants. You have to spend your time on the good ants. Spending time with my wife for the entire week. We were going on dates, okay? We played a lot of games, watched a couple shows, and dealt with ants. So now there's ants in my house. It's summertime. Ant landed on her and she was very calm, but I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, the ant's gonna eat you, honey." Those ants. I cleaned up the place. There's no more ants. I'm assuming it's just a summer migration, because the few ants that I saw all had wings. I'm gonna assume that they're the ones that try to find like a new place and or queens. Get fucked. What is that emote? What is it? Ants, please get fucked. Why are they both dancing at different frame rates? Shouldn't emotes be synced up? In the meantime, as well, while we were doing that, I got my wife into Pragmata. So my wife played Pragmata. She's way further ahead than me, and I knew that she would love that game. She's really into Pragmata. I also got her into Crimson Desert, and I knew that she would love Crimson Desert, and she got really into that game. And chat, I got into Crimson Desert too. So after Pragmata, we're going straight to Crimson Desert because it's actually really good. I know I said I finished games, but like honestly, that game hooked me. I was like, holy shit, this game hooked me instantly. It reminds me of Dragon's Dogma 2 if Dragon's Dogma 2 had more to do immediately. Not to say that we played a lot of it, but like I could immediately tell that there's a lot more going on in Crimson Desert than Dragon's Dogma 2. Which is sad because I thought Dragon's Dogma 2 has the better combat system. But that's fine because Crimson Desert is still pretty good. Ant Summer. I don't want Ant Summer. I've had enough ants, okay? We don't want ants anymore. But yeah, we had a very good time. My doctor says I'm okay. Played a lot of games. And if you've never played Pragmata or Crimson Desert, honestly, you should. I was very surprised at how good these games are. I was also catching up on a bunch of gaming news. I've got a couple of emails about things. And did you know that there's a new Final Fantasy 14 expansion, for instance, with Evangelion? And there's a rumor that the Final Fantasy 9 remake might get announced at some point or something. Apparently, there's like rumors of a Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9 remake that'll get called out at some point soon. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but there's a lot of really cool things coming out soon. And I'm very surprised because I thought it would never happen. And now you can play Final Fantasy 14 on your Switch for some reason. On your Switch too. It's great. And then Tamagotchi Life came out, chat. My wife and I made an island full of our dogs. And it was so funny because that game, you can draw anything. It's amazing. You can make them say, chat, you can make them say anything. And we're gonna play that at some point too. But the problem is that there's too many games, see? Now there's too many fucking games. I gotta play this. I gotta play that. You know that Diablo 2 mod that I had linked? Median XL? Guess what? Tomorrow is when that update drops. Alright? And guess what? Marvel Rivals just released a new PvE mode, which has been very fun. So I've been playing for that too. And so now there's like a bunch of things going on. I don't know what to do. Chat. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. There's just too many things going on. And now I don't know how to spend my time. But I do know this. I am still jobless for the foreseeable future. Not that it's like a bad thing. I have contracts to hold me over. But I realized that I was like, okay, in these interviews, I don't even know what exactly I'm interviewing for. Because I was like, some of these roles that I got, it's not even the pay, it's the way that they talked about these roles. So I actually got like a number of offers, and some of these offers were like bad, okay? One of the people, like, so for all of them, they all looked like they were genuinely dead inside. And then all of them could not even sell me on what makes the place a good place. And all of them seemed like they were dying inside. And they were telling me these like things that were sort of like hidden horror science. Like basically for every single one, they said, okay, so I'll be honest with you. We had a couple people leave the team recently, and we're not really doing too well. But you know what? This is a great place to work. We have things like a water cooler that you can go drink water from. And I'm like, cool. That doesn't really inspire very much confidence in me. And then I go on their glass door, which is not really truly like a good representation anymore. Or I go on like different places and I look at their team members. And then I look at the things that they say, and I'm like, ooh, it doesn't seem that good. But did they have a fruit basket? They don't even have snacks. That's the crazy part. If I was to go in, all they would have is like water. Okay. Nowadays, startups are stingy. You know, back in my day in Silicon Valley, they give you a startup with a pool table and like the pool balls. They'd be made out of pomegranate, and you can just crack them open and just eat them right there on the pool table. Nowadays, you have to go buy your own fruits from like a convenience store or something. But yeah, it's every single one. Well, it wasn't that many offers. It was like 2 or 3. I think it was 3. Yeah. It was 3. Sorry, it was 3. And I was excited at first, but then when they sort of talked about what to expect, I was like, I don't know if this is good. Because I don't mind the pay. I mean, obviously, I mind getting paid commensurate to my skill level. But beyond that, I don't really care. It'd be nice. It's just nice to have a good full-time place. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing contracting, where I can define my own things. And sure, it's a little annoying to get people to pay for this stuff, but that's nothing that like a one-time purchase of like how like it just that's It's easy to send somebody a strongly worded legal letter, right? And then they'll pay you out of fear of legal concerns. That's a very easy thing for me to do. I love doing that. I live to make someone's day hell. Okay, but the place that I'm stuck at, where the people there are all like depressed, where everything sucks. I don't know. It was very scary. And also, I'm still waiting for some other interview. So, as it's, at least for the foreseeable future, we have time to play some more games. However, they will not be long days. They will be fairly short days because I do want to keep programming. I've actually been on the programming bend and I can't stop. Okay, that's it. Is everyone ready for the stream to die? Because I've been getting blue screens very often. All right, we're going to move on to Pragmata. We're going to finish this game. Then we need to keep going forward and forward and forward and forward. We need to finish a bunch of games. Tomorrow is horror day, okay? So if you want horror games, come in tomorrow. I've got some new horror games for tomorrow, as well as some returning ones, because I learned that there's actually things that we need to do in those horror games. Like, for instance, Idols of Ash. My friend, he was like, hey, you know that game, Idols of Ash? And I was like, yeah. Because he's like a speedrunner. And then he was like, so I played the whole game. There's more story to it, right? I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, just do everything. And I was like, okay, I'll just do everything. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Along with some other horror games I found. Monday is Accountability Circle. And the review for the last Accountability Circle will happen on that Monday because I figured might as well stack them all together because I don't want to spend too much time doing it on like an off day. And again, please get your goals in for this week's. I know I wasn't here for last week because I was gone for the entire week. But it still matters. Maybe not to you, but to me. And not really to me. I don't really care if you. I don't really care if you get your goals done. I don't really give a shit. All right? If you don't get your goals done, guess what? It doesn't affect me. If you don't get your goals done, it doesn't affect me. Your life gets worse. My life stays the same. Why should I care? Oh, you're finally awake. I have to go. Tomorrow is horror day. We'll do the recap of the the accountability circle next Monday. So 2 more days on Monday. We're doing 2 weeks in a row. My bad that I wasn't here, okay? If any of you have not put your goals in, please put your goals in, okay? I'm adding 2 more to my goals after this one, based on the projects that I'm working on, this is why I'm ending stream early, because I had to go and program them. And yeah, thanks for showing up again. Sorry I was gone for so long. I didn't realize I'd be gone for so long. My doctor's finally giving me the okay. I feel good. I just need to fix some things and bring some things back into storage and stuff. And I'm basically done my chores. And then I just need to wait for more interviews. And then we just keep on going. It's great. And then I have no time to play anything because there's a million games out there. And there's just no time at all. And did you know that actually, not even just these games, like there's also like the indie games that are coming out soon. Forbidden Solitaire is that solitaire game that we played, which is like Dungeon Crawler, is coming out in 4 days. Along with 5 days. Along with a multitude of other smaller games I've been waiting for too. I worry that we won't have enough time to get through everything. And then I got into Crimson Desert, which is a bad thing too. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, but we'll get there eventually. Bye, everyone. See you all next time. I don't think there's anyone to raid because I'm on very late, and usually people don't show up at this time. And every time I go to Twitch, there's always some crazy thing called Amazon Music. Took a nap 7. What does that mean? What does that mean? You can't just force a 6-7 meme, okay? 6-7 comes naturally. Look, count from 1 to 10, and you'll be hit by it every single time. Oh my god! And it's Tamagotchi life. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Maybe we shaft Horror Day. I don't know. Maybe we like throw Horror Day away. We punt it to some other day. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Bye, everyone.